take your brand to the next level because you're in the right place. Our next speaker is an international speaker and author, founder of LR Training Solutions, a former Google marketing leader, recognized in 2020 as one of the top 50 Black entrepreneurs, and possibly the first person to climb Mount Everest in his dreams. Beyond the business accolades, he is a devoted dad chasing after his toddler and a big fan of hip hop and horror movies. I can't wait to hear your favorite horror movie. Here to inspire and elevate us, please join me in welcoming from Houston, Texas, Mr. Chris Cheetham-West.
All right. So glad to be here. Thanks for the introduction. So I look forward to sharing some useful tips on how you can grow your brand, how you can get more members for your association, and retain members as well. So throughout this presentation, we're going to talk about AI, we're going to talk about new trends, and really we're going to talk about how to stay relevant in this AI world that's forming right now. So pretty much did the introduction. I'm author of Digital Marketing for Results and Leading in a Virtual World, so I'm going to be selling them in the back as well. For some reason, whenever I post a picture of myself on social media, I get like 20 likes. When I post a picture of my family, it gets hundreds of likes. I don't know what it is, right? So this is right here. So we live in Houston, Texas. All right. So this is my oldest son right there. So they get all the social media likes right now for some reason. So me by itself, it doesn't work. I don't know what it is. All right. So first off, marketers must adapt. So many changes is happening right now. So I look forward to sharing specific tips on how you can use these strategies right after you leave today. So first off, you got to think about what is it that you offer? What do you offer for people that are coming to your events, that are your members, that are your potential members? For example, Nike doesn't sell sports apparel. What do they sell? Any ideas? They sell a brand? Just do it. Just do it. Sports, right? Do they endorse anybody? Who do they endorse? Athlete? They just endorse any athlete? Professionals? Oh, Michael Jordan, there we go. So they endorse athletes that win, right? So winning. So they sell winning. Nike sells winning. So you got to think about, for your brand, what do you really sell in the member's mind, in the potential member's mind? So any ideas? Throw out some ideas. What do you sell in the member's mind? Okay, strategy, okay. Networking, okay, networking. Support, okay. Success, there we go, success. Security, yeah. Resources, or maybe you're helping them stay up to date in their industry. Maybe you're helping them stay ahead. So you got to think about what is it you sell, and once you understand this, that'll help you create content a lot easier. That'll help you create branding a lot easier. That'll help you create events and conferences a lot easier because you know exactly what you're selling in the customer's mind, in the member's mind. Now, not only that, you want to think about why is it that people would work with your association. For example, we know it's important to know the why, but for example, why would they want to share your content on social media? Why would they want to come to your events? So I live in Houston, Texas, and I would say everywhere you go, you have to drive 30 minutes, 45 minutes. How is it over here? Is it the same thing? You have to drive 15 minutes. Over here in Houston, you have to drive about 40 minutes everywhere. So when it comes to events, a lot of times there's low attendance because there's not a strong reason for people to get out of their bed and go to these events, right? So you have to give them a reason why you are offering, a reason why the event is happening, a reason why they should share your content. So there was a study done over 40 years ago. A researcher wanted to find out what content will get people in front of the line faster. So if they were to go to a local business and they wanted to skip the line, what type of excuse would work the best? So she hired 5 actors to go to local print shops and try to use one of 3 excuses to get in front of the line. One excuse was, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine? Second excuse was the real information. Excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I'm in a rush? And the third excuse that didn't really make any sense was, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I have to make copies? So what excuse do you think got them in front of the line more than others? Number 2? Number 2? Anybody else? Number 2? Right? Number 5? Number 5. Okay. So the second one, real reason, got them in front of the line 94% of the time. But look, the fake reason, they didn't make any sense 93% of the time. Just for the fact that they used the word because. So giving people a reason is powerful these days, whether that's getting them to your event or whether that's having them share your content or opening your email, right? Giving them a reason to do things and they're more likely to do it. So think about how you can implement that in your content, in your organization and association. Now, one way to make sure you're relevant in this new world we're in is to build on relationships. So relationships are always going to be there no matter what, no matter if AI takes over or not, right? So if you lean in on relationships, that's what's going to help you stay ahead and stay ahead of the competition as well. So for example, connecting with others, sharing what works at events like this, in-person activities, right? So I'm going to go over how now people are purchasing from businesses, but they are more likely to purchase online if there's not a good experience that they know they're going to engage in. So you want to give them the best experience possible so they can come out to your events versus staying at home doing everything virtually or purchasing virtually. So I did some research when I wrote my second book, Leading in a Virtual World. I talked to some leaders at HR associations. And one of those leaders told me that whenever 2020 happened, they had a list of members and they decided just to call them, to build those relationships. Call each member to see how they're doing. And so they went down the list and they ended up calling people. And whenever they would pick up, most of the time they ended up hanging up because they thought they were looking for membership dues. But in reality, they were just trying to figure out if everybody's okay. So the fourth person she called, she picked up and she said, hey, I'm just here to check in and see how things are going during this changing time. And within 30 seconds, the lady started crying because that was the first time someone had called her in 3 months. So you never know how powerful just a phone call could be. Some people here work hybrid. Anybody work hybrid? Virtual? In person? Okay. So for the most part, we think, okay, it's great, but there's about 20% of people that hate it. And we might assume that, well, since we're working remote, everybody likes it, but not really. So you want to always check in with people, call them, and build those relationships. That's one thing that's never going to change in this different world. And what is new? Thinking about what is new. So I had a relative, she went to Six Flags, and it's in San Antonio, Texas, and she told me that they got some rides, and it was great. They had a good time. And I'm thinking that I've been there for a lot of time, so I've probably rode all the rides. But she said, no, there's 3 or 4 new rides there. And immediately I started thinking to myself, like, I would like to go there again, just because there's something new. So the word new is powerful. Not only that, but the concept in general. So think about how can you provide something new for your members? Ongoing. Maybe that's something yearly that's new or every quarter. So that can keep people coming back. That can retain people for the long term. And this could be programs. So join our mentorship and peer collaboration program. Apply by August 15th. It could be new content. Maybe you're a source of information where you're a leader in the industry where people look to your association to get the latest news. So new is powerful. So new is powerful, but at the same time, you don't want to neglect the top hits. So for example, Frankie Beverly, a famous singer, he is known for a lot of different songs with his group. And whenever he would do interviews, many of the interviewer would ask, like, hey, why don't you do new songs? You have all these old songs, old hits, but why don't you do new albums? And he said, yeah, we try to do new albums, but every time we introduce these new songs, then the audience boos us because they don't want the new songs, right? They want the hits, right? So think about what is it that brings your members back again and again. Think about always leaning on that and promoting that as well so people can come and enjoy those different types of events. And influencers. Anybody use influencers here? So we've all heard of them. So that's when you pay someone a fee and they post your brand and they post you, maybe it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever. But when it comes to influence, you got to think, who are your real influencers? So one of our videographers in Houston, we were having a conversation about restaurants in Houston. And he said this one restaurant is always known to have bad service. Every time he goes there, he has a reservation, and it takes about 30 minutes after they get there to get seated at the table. And service is bad. The food is good, but the service is bad. And one day he went there, and all of a sudden the service was great. So he got there. He was able to sit at his table on time. Food came out perfect. The waitresses were nice. And he was talking to the person he went there with. He was like, what's going on? Why is the service so good right now? And his friend said, oh, there's a big food influencer in town. That's why everything's smoothly. And I got to be thinking, when he told me that, I'm like, why do we have to wait for influencers to be around before we have good customer experience, before we have good service to the people that are our members, right? So think about who are your real influencers. Your real influencers are probably your members, right? These people have the real power because these are people that can share your content. These are people that can help you get more members. So a lot of association events right now that are utilizing user-generated content, those are the ones that are having the events that are packed out because people are sharing their content online. So think about your current members. How can you utilize them? How can you share their story or better yet, have them share their story to members or at events, right? So what is their association story? What is their membership wins? And have them involved with social media, even using their pictures online if they are okay with it, and having them tag people as well. So again, think about your real influencers that can really make the shift versus paying influencers that might not even have your audience in their following. So another area of marketing, of course, is social and thinking about when to post. We all think about, okay, when to post, how often to post. And here's a list of the different times to post, right? So you can take a picture if you want, right? So we have LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, right here, X. So my opinion is that for LinkedIn, the best time to post is Thursday. Because by Thursday, everybody's fed up with their jobs and they're looking for another job on LinkedIn. Anybody agree? Yeah. That's my personal opinion, so I don't know if it's true or not. But they do say Thursday's a good time to post, all right? So if you took a picture, it doesn't really matter that much. But in general, what I'm trying to say is this stuff, it really doesn't matter that much because if you're building the relationships in this AI world, then you're going to know exactly more about your customer. So you can go to ChatGPT, you can go to Gemini, you can go to Google and type in, hey, when is the best time to post? How often to post? They're going to give you a general answer, right? But if you know your members, if you have these good relationships, you shouldn't have to rely on those stats. You want to know exactly what your members doing, when they're active, when they're online, and when you should engage with them instead of looking at this content. So for example, I did a presentation in Iowa as a tourism organization, and I was on their website and I noticed this post. It said, how to spend 48 hours in Iowa City. I was like, that's a great idea just for content generation. Posting things like that, letting people know what to do, especially if you're a travel company. And it got me realizing that what if we're not just posting and engaging throughout the day? What if we really engage whenever they actually need us to engage with them? So there's a study done about when people are going to Iowa, how long they drive, what day they go. So it's Friday, Saturday, Thursday. I'm sure there's studies out here and for California in the different cities here. But in general, so if I was in marketing, I would probably target them on those days, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, or leading up before they travel. So this is when they are most active, they're most interested in our content. So there's all associations in here, and I work with a lot of associations since I'm a professional speaker. And one thing I've noticed is many associations, they don't want to deal with you as a speaker if they're not planning an event, right? So whenever the event is going on, that's when they want to be engaging. That's when they want to respond, right? So think about when are they active? When are they really willing to connect with your brand? So what still matters? So what still matters and what is going to continue to matter as well? Again, relationships we talked about, knowing why you're doing what you're doing, also making sure you're giving people a reason, building those relationships, and understanding why people use some of the platforms that are right now. So for example, this right here, this caption, where would you put this caption? What social media platform would you put this caption on? So you got Instagram, all right. Anybody else? Pinterest, okay. Pinterest? What about this one right here? I'm checked in at Dolly's Donuts. Facebook? Facebook? Okay. Here's how to eat a donut. LinkedIn? LinkedIn, here's how to eat a donut. Technically, I guess that works, right? YouTube? YouTube? My skills include donut eating. LinkedIn? Okay, there we go. There's LinkedIn. Here's a donut recipe. Pinterest? Okay. So these are all examples of how whenever these new platforms come out, there's a reason people are using them. Even with AI, and there's a reason people use the ChatGPT. Maybe it's for productivity. Maybe it's for making more money, relationships, right? There's a reason people use these tools. So always think about what is the reason people are using it. That way you can have better content, better engagement. And one thing that also is not going to change is just the attention, right? So when it comes to ADA, A is for attention, right? Making sure that whenever you have content, since it's such a busy world, we're inundated with all these advertisements, you want to make sure you're getting that attention. And one way to use AI is have better headlines. Majority of the people only look at headlines. 80% actually. 80% of people only look at headlines. Same thing when it comes to websites. They only look at the top before they start scrolling. So making sure you're getting that attention, that's an easy way to use AI right there. Interests. Are they actually interested in your product? So how can you get them more interested in what you're doing, what you are offering? And D, can anybody guess what the D stands for? Decision. Whoever gets it right gets a free trip to San Diego? No, it's kidding. You don't get a free trip to San Diego. No? It's D and then E. No, D-E-S. I can't spell out the whole thing. Like, yeah, there we go, desire. Who said desire? Who said desire? Okay, there we go. You get a free book. You get a free book, yeah. There's a book up there. So I'm going to give you a free book. So desire, yeah. You want to give them, desire to have your product. And, of course, A. Anybody can guess what A stands for? Yeah, there we go, action. No gift for that, but yeah. Yeah, there you go. So make sure you get the action. So one way to make sure that you're still relevant and that you get the most engagement is providing emotion. So again, we know how to post. We know when to post, what to post. We know all that. But always having emotion in your content. So this could be anything. This could be your homepage of your association website. People within your homepage, right? Having people increases the engagement. This could be when you're posting about a new holiday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, any type of post that creates some type of engagement or some type of emotion. So here's a list of the top different types of emotions that create viral content. Top emotions that create viral content. You can take a picture if you want. So awe, laughter, amusement, joy, anger, surprise. So if you're posting, think about how can you create this engagement and emotion. And it doesn't have to be every single post, but in general, make it part of your strategy, right? So maybe it's a great membership story, how somebody succeeded after joining your association, or how this association helped people get jobs. So it's a lot of different ways you can spin this. And this is specifically for images. So happiness, all right? So surprise, admiration, satisfaction. So these are all types of things you want to consider when you are trying to post, you're trying to figure out your content calendar, trying to figure out how you can get more engagement, all right? So always have this party strategy, and that's never going to change because people like emotions. So negative emotions, you generally don't work well. Even though you see them online, it can be viral, but still, overall, these are the emotions that help out get content viral. So whenever we want to engage in any type of goal, we want to make sure that it succeeds. Maybe if it's a project we're working on at work, or it's a project we're working at in our personal lives, we want to make sure that all the hard work pays off. So this is what this dad did in Houston, Texas. He and his son started their first donut shop. But on the grand opening, something happened. Nobody showed up. So he had a grand opening sign, everything was ready, donuts were ready, but it was an empty parking lot. His son posted this. He said, "My dad is sad because no one is coming to his new donut shop." Right? Hour later, 700,000 likes. People came from 30 minutes away, 45 minutes away, an hour away. News stations from Houston came in. Social media executives came, all to see what was going on. They sold out within a couple hours. Now, they could have acted like everything was great, like they were selling out of donuts when they weren't, but they decided to connect with their audience on an emotional level. I talked to the person, the owner, and he said that now they have 3 locations across Houston, leading to the fact that all they did was connect on the emotional level. Now they have about, I'll say 80,000 followers on the different platforms. But again, emotion can keep people coming back. I actually need to go. It's like 30 minutes away, so I need to go back there and shut up. So I get the official experience. The reviews are good, though. So now that we talked about relationships, we talked about emotion, let's talk about the actual experience that people are having, the experience that the customers having, the members are having. So a lot of times people these days, they are just shopping online. So what are your reasons for not going out to places to buy things? Any ideas? What are your reasons? Other people, yeah. Faster, convenient. Anybody? Selection, okay, selection. Anyone else? Lazy, yeah, all right. Okay, exclusive. Okay, definitely. All right. What makes you get out of bed and go to an actual store these days? Ideas? Or go to an actual anything where you're paying something? Okay, yeah, pay up for the experience, right? So the experience. More and more people are constantly online purchasing and doing things online, but you want to lean into what type of experience you can create for your members and your potential members. Remember, give them a strong reason to connect with your brand and to get out of the bed and go to your event. And the data is always there. The good thing about online marketing, when I got into it, is that everything's there. I mean, 99% of the information you need from your customers, your competitors are already there. Even when it comes to Google reviews, it tells you exactly what people like about your brand, and it tells you what they hate about the brand. So for example, this Google review, it says parking is bad, right? So look at the content that's already out there. I know most of the associations, they don't have the Google business pages, but highly recommend getting some type of survey going if you don't already, but getting an idea of what people like and what people don't like about events or things that you're engaged in as the association. And not only that, how can you make the experience memorable? So this example right here talks about it was a tourist attraction, and the comment said, just reminded me of simpler times before we became so wrapped up in technology. So taking them away from the mundane day-to-day life if they're stressed out, right? So how can you give them an experience that's memorable, that they can tell other people that can eventually become members as well or come to your events? And easy. Anybody can mention, how do you make it easy how do you make working with you easy? Any ideas? How do you make it easy to work with you, association? Could be that it's easy to sign up, it's easy to connect, all right? So there's a lot of ways to make it easy. So that's one of the top things. Being easy to work with can lead people to come back to your brand over and over again. 84% of the respondents in the study said a positive in-person experience makes them more likely to return. 64% said it makes them more likely to spend more at their first visit. So think about the first-time members to your events. This is where you really want to have a good impression with them. So this is a good example of not only in-person experiences, but online. So you don't have to wait till you meet somebody in order to give them the great experience. So I have bought many Samsung products. I currently have a Samsung TV. I was just wondering if I could get a free Galaxy S3. Right? I have attached a picture of a dragon I just drew for you. Have a great day. Right? So this is an example of when things like this happen, you want to take advantage of this and make it into a moment, right? That they can remember and they can tell other people. So Samsung, they sent them an actual phone and they put this on their case, right? So whenever I speak and talk about this in other examples, some people say, well, we're not a big company, we don't have the budget, but there's always ways to make these moments, right? Whether you're a small association or a large association. And again, What I'm doing right now is talking about this brand because of what they did years ago. So making those moments where people will talk about your brand years from now. All right. So knowing your people. So knowing your people is important. So when I say know your people, there's so many different generations in the workforce now, right? So many different generations coming in, graduating college. And so not just from the standpoint of your potential members, but your team members as well. How many people here work with people from different generations? Is it a challenge, right? So I would say thinking about the strengths of each generation, some people might be good when it comes to technology, others might be good with in-person communication, right? But in general, you can get fresh perspectives and different perspectives if you embrace these differences. And it'll help you stay ahead and stay relevant in this new digital age. So AI, anybody use AI here? How do you use it? You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes I'll write something and I'll ask it to polish it, or I'll ask it to say, consider this when,
Okay.
like, make this sound firm but polite.
Okay, yeah, make it sound good. All right. Anybody else? How do you use AI? Yes. Okay, great. Over there. Okay, design a flyer. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Great. What tool you use for that? What tool did you use for that? Okay, great. Somebody raise their hand. Yes. Create tweets. Okay. So what do you prompt? How do you prompt? What do you say? Got it. Okay. Great. Perfect. All right. Thanks. Back there. Hmm. Oh, okay. Great. Chat. What tool you use for that? Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a great idea for surveys. Yes. Right there.
We've been hiring a lot of staff over the last 12 months.
Mhm.
So we built an AI support to do all of our onboarding for our new staff.
Oh, okay.
So all the things that we would want a new team member to be able to know, we transcribed, we kind of wrote it all out, gave it to that AI. And so now the onboarding program for the first 90 days is kind of all step by step.
Okay.
And if they have any questions, they can ask the AI and get the answers as if they would be asking me
Okay.
every day. And so it just helps give them a little self-sufficiency through the onboarding. Plus we know that everything that they need as a new employee is there for them anytime that they need it.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Yes. Back there. You said you broke your dinner table? Pivot table. Oh, okay, pivot table. Okay, yeah. So, okay, yeah. That's definitely helpful. All right, thanks. Anybody else? Yes. Hmm? Hmm. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's great. So this isn't an HR conference, but sometimes I do speak to HR associations, and that's what some of the things I tell people, like interviewing, uploading resumes to see the summary of what they do, what they're good at. All those are really great ideas. Somebody else? Yeah. Oh, okay. Hmm. Okay. Ah, okay. Interesting. Great. Thanks. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. Ah, okay. Great. Yeah, the terminology is important when it comes to marketing. Having the terms that that they're using. You else? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. So yes, yes. Ah, okay. Oh. Eighth grade's kind of advanced, right? Like, I don't think like usually like fifth grade, third grade. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, so great examples. So when it comes to AI, you want to consider who needs it. What do I need and what does my team need? Because there's so many AI tools out there. AI companies reach out to me all the time wanting me to promote their products. But at the end of the day, you got to think about what do you need and what does your team need? And the problem with implementing a lot of these tools with the companies is if you implement it and there's no training or there's no need, people end up not using it. So you end up wasting a lot of your money and your time just because it's a hot new thing that people are using. So you want to understand exactly who needs it. So for example, when it comes to marketing, there's tools that do everything. I would recommend thinking about what is your process. So write down exactly what it is you do for every aspect of your work. So when it comes to marketing, maybe one of the things you do is you create a post. You create an image and you write a caption and then you post it or you send it to somebody, you put it on the content calendar. So thinking about exactly what it is the process is, that'll help you decide what tools to use and how to create these effective prompts. So allthehashtags.com is an example of how, well, if I'm trying to post something, what do? You might want to think of hashtags, right? So this tool right here, you just take a picture or you upload a picture and it creates the hashtags for you. So think about exactly what you do and then have this AI's help and benefit your needs. So when it comes to video, what would be the process of doing video? If you were to do a video, record a video at your event, what would be the process? Any ideas? Okay, hire Kermit, yeah. All right. Yes.
So when I record a video, I try to write a script before, and I need like this shot, this shot, this shot, this shot.
Okay.
And I try to match like the voiceover to the video.
Okay, got it. Okay, writing a script, that's part of it. Anyone else? So overall, you want to think about this tool right here, OpenScript, and there's many tools like this. Again, you upload the video, and then it automatically chops up to small pieces, 30-second clips. That way in, and also puts captions on it. So again, part of it is creating the captions. Part of it is creating the caption to post with the video, right? So and also, you want to think about whenever you're having this long-form content, putting it out bits by bits instead of the whole entire content. So make sure you're repurposing all your content. So search. So we talked about the general aspects, but search is really changing when it comes to AI. I was talking to a friend, I believe 2 years ago, when ChatGPT first became popular, and he was saying, well, I don't even use Google that much anymore because I just use ChatGPT for everything. And I was thinking, you know what? That's great, but I don't think most people are going to use ChatGPT for everything. I think it's just for like information purposes. Turns out, years later, I'm getting calls, and my clients are getting calls saying they heard about the websites, my websites on ChatGPT, right? So people are now searching for products and services on ChatGPT or Gemini. So what you want, that means for you is you want to make sure that your content is effective enough to rank higher in those AI searches. So it's not just about being the first page of Google anymore. Now you need to be top 5, top 3 of Google in order to be in these AI search engines. In images, for example, when it comes to images, people search. I look at the data all the time. For my clients, my website, my clients, they are searching the general listings, but also they're also searching for images. So when people type in association in your city, professional association, or whatever type of association that you have, does your content come up in the different types of searches? So now you got AI mode on the top left. You got the all area where you have the listings. You got the image searches. And you got this new area where it says short videos. So it doesn't show up there, but if you go to Google right now, there's a tab that says short videos. So a lot of companies are taking advantage of that and making sure that their captions or content has good keywords in the video so they can rank high on those those video searches. Now, quick tip right here, if you wanted to rank high on this area, make sure all your file names of your images are changed to different keywords. So for example, if your images are usually img456.jpg, change it to Golf Association San Diego.jpg. Right? So that kind of thing right there will help you rank high. And because again, you're in the type of this business where people want to see pictures. People want to see content about how people are enjoying your events. So Google Trends is a tool that you want to always use because it'll tell you what is currently going on. So for example, what is the popular terms? What's popular at the moment? So when I wrote my first book, Digital Marketing for Results, I wanted to figure out what is the best term to use. Is it digital marketing or if it's online marketing? And it turns out digital marketing was the term that was searched more often. So using this tool to figure out what content to use. So someone earlier said you want to use the same terms that your membership is using. So put the content in here, and that'll give you an idea of what type of articles to write, what type of words to use, what type of terminology to use in your branding and in your website. Now here, I would also recommend figuring out what is trending as far as specifically trending up or trending down. So I started my business in 2014. First few years were good, and I always was trying to figure out how to market, how to sell, and how to promote, and things worked out because I used search engine optimization to my advantage. And I would say in 2020, things changed a little bit. I was one of the businesses where it actually improved during that time, but 4 years later, all of a sudden, I stopped getting calls. We stopped getting leads as often. And I realized I was doing a lot of promoting, but I wasn't paying attention to the future. So what I started doing now is looking towards what people are searching, what people are interested in, and what's happening now and what's going to happen 3 months from now, a year from now. So this tool right here, Google AdWords Keyword Planner, it'll tell you what's trending down and what's trending up. For example, how to join this association, how to get into real estate, trending down by 90% over the past 3 months. And year over year change, 90% decrease. Now, what you want to do is use this tool and think about what is the increases happening. So for example, if I'm in the real estate association, I'm going to use this information to my advantage to maybe promote different services. Can anybody have an idea of what can you do? If you had an association that has to do with real estate, what can you do with this information right here? If you have an association that has to do with real estate, this information right here, what can you do with it? Yes? Yeah, okay. Content? Yes. Yeah. Digital product? Got it. Digital product? Yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, list of people can access. Anybody else? What can you do with this information? Hold educational events, seminars, because you know this is what on everybody's mind, right? 900% increase for specific these tips, right? Competition, you don't have to worry about that. But in general, you want to look at what is trending up. So 4 billion searches yesterday, today, tomorrow, and 85% clicks come from organic content. So organic, of course, everybody knows is like pretty much you're not paying for it, right? And that's pretty much what these ChatGPT searches are, Gemini is as well. But you want to rank higher for those services. So for example, Google, Bing, Yahoo are the top search engines that bring up websites right now, as far as like the data that we know. Can anybody guess what are the last two? Starts with an A. Whoever gets it right gets a free trip to Galveston, Texas, I guess. No. So it starts with an A. Google, Bing, Yahoo. Oh, wow, y'all got it. Ask. Okay, ask. And somebody said the other one? AOL, there we go. Anybody still have an AOL email address? Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. It's okay. All right. So it sounds like some people do. Okay. But when it comes to these searches, right now Google still has about 68%. But in general, whenever you're trying to market, you want to think about what are people using the most. So Google, Bing, and Yahoo. But again, you want to pay more attention to Google. And look at all this. But now it's different. So again, now people are using the Gemini. People are using ChatGPT. Like I said, I would say 10% of my traffic, clients' traffic, is coming from ChatGPT. Not so much from Gemini yet. They're not usually using it for products. But again, people reach out and they say, well, we looked up your business, or we looked up who you are, who the client is in Gemini. So you know you're desperate for an answer when you go to the second page of Google. So again, it went from second page of Google to now first page. And now even with this AI searches, really you just have to be the top 5, really. I mean, because whenever you're doing searches on ChatGPT for services, how many businesses does it show you? Anybody want to mention? 3, 5? Anybody else? Usually it's about 3, 5, sometimes it's 10, right? So essentially, the good thing about this is it's not really that difficult. It's more so if you're on the top page of Google, you're more likely to be in the ChatGPT. But the challenge is they don't recommend a lot of brands. So I said, I'm looking for a professional association in Florida. And look at what they said. They gave me questions, clarifying questions, like what type of association, what type of things you want to be involved in. Is it healthcare? Is it educators? Is it accountants? So I would say a month ago, I did a similar presentation, and it just gave me a list of providers. Now it's asking me specifically, hey, what is exactly that you need? So it gave me this. I said accountants, and it gave me Florida Institute Certified Public Accountants. So associations is actually a little bit more different than a small business because they just give you the recommended association. And they give you the links, of course, Rob, but they give you why it's being recommended. Other noteworthy associations, so they give you another example, and they give you which one is right for you. So again, the challenge is this is changing like every day. So you have to be on it. You have to have somebody that's aware of how these searches are working. So this is Gemini, I believe. So what part of Texas are you located in or looking to attend? I asked them, actually, what type of associations in Texas can I join? And again, it gave me general information. All right, so look for executive education, and they gave me these recommendations as well, and talks about what type of events they have. So these are the questions you want to ask when it comes to these AI searches. What associations come up? When you type in associations affiliated with your industry, who do they recommend right now in ChatGPT and Gemini? What is mentioned about our association? So type in the name of your association and see what it comes up. And not only that, but when you type in general, what is shown about your brand, even if you don't type the name in. So what clarifying questions are being asked? This is the most important because that'll tell you what type of content to make for your website. So whatever is being asked, you want to have that content on your website. So for example, one thing they ask is, well, how long has the association been around? And it says 30 years, 40 years. So guess what? You want to have that information on your website, not just a logo, but content saying we've been around for 50 years, 20 years, 30 years. So again, that's what's going to be picked up when it comes to these Chat GPT and Gemini searches. So more pages, more links, more keywords. When it comes to being searched, when it comes to being found, you want to always have more content. That gives people the ability to search your content more. So whenever I talk to businesses, I always tell them, you never want to have a page on your site that has a list of all your services. Why? Because you're losing out. You want to have a page for each service so Google can find your pages more. They can find your product or service more, and ChatGPT, Gemini, and all these AI searches can pick up your website. So how do members speak? So again, goes back to the person's point here that said, well, we want to understand the language people are speaking, the terminology. So more and more people are starting to use voice search, and for you, that means that you want to have content that connects with voice. So whenever you're writing content, whether it's articles or you're promoting an event, think about how are people speaking versus how are people searching. So you want to fulfill both of those needs so you can be aware when people are using Google, when people are using these AI searches, they might be using their voice. So you want to make sure your content fits the description of what they're saying. An SEO expert walks into a bar, bars, pub, public house, beer, wine, get it, right? So in general, you want to make sure you have specific keywords in your content at all times. So AI for user experience. We talked about AI for search. Let's talk about AI for user experience. So when people go to your site, they want to be engaged right away. I would say you got about 30 seconds. If you don't engage with them within 30 seconds, then they're more likely to leave. Because I have the data. I use Google Analytics. I'm going to be talking about Google Analytics my next session. But again, you have about 30 seconds. So when it comes to your site, lighter websites always do better. So you might be thinking, well, I see a lot of dark websites out there. But in general, when you see a dark website, it's usually like a car brand or a luxury brand, and they usually have large images. If that's not the case, you want to have a lighter website, because the lighter the website, the more likely it is that they're going to find the call to action that they're looking for. So a dark website, it has people struggling, and they're more likely to never come back to your site as well. So feel free to take a picture of this and show it to your web developer. So if you're trying to win an argument. All right. So here, what we have is on the left-hand side, we have an orange circle surrounded by blue circles. And on the right-hand side, we have another orange circle. Looks bigger on the right-hand side. But in general, it's the same size. That's because the one on the right is surrounded by smaller items that don't distract us. So how many times do we go to a website and we're struggling to find the call to action because there's so much going on. There's so many different options. So when it comes to your landing pages, make sure that there's a clear call to action that people can immediately see right when they get to your site. So what way is this train going, left or right? Left or right? Which way is this train going? Yeah, yes. Somebody say yes. Left, right, right. Any guesses? Left, right, right, left. I have no idea, right? So now it's going right. Yeah. If you focus for about 10 minutes straight, you might find out. But yeah. But in general, I put this up here because you want to be aware that you want to have the same experience for everybody that comes to your site. You don't want one person to go to your site and they have a bad experience, another person has a good experience, another person doesn't find the call to action. So again, you want to have a consistent experience when people land on your site. So when it comes to your page, what I did was I took a picture of this association website and I just threw it in one of the AI tools. And all it did was tell me exactly how we can increase membership when it comes to the content. I said, hey, how can I make this site better for membership growth? And it gave me a list of ideas. All right, so better CTA, prominent call to action. So these are all good ideas. But in general, again, using these AI tools for your advantage so you can be more productive and stay relevant. So even Gemini, what Gemini does, it actually researches sites right now. It researches different sites, and it gives you a comparison on what you can do better. Right? So in general, we talked about a lot of different areas of marketing, trends, AI. So we talked about building relationships. We talked about making sure that you're giving customers a reason to join, to engage. And we talked about search, making sure you have content that fits the profile of the AI searches, as well as making sure overall you're staying relevant. So again, you don't want to overthink this. All right, so it's not too hard, right? So I'll be doing a session next on Google Analytics. So we're going to talk about how to look at your data when it comes to your website to make informed decisions and grow your membership base. So what I do is we do training, consulting on all these topics and search optimization. And you can scan this if you have any questions or if you want to reach out. And I'll be selling books back there after I get off the stage. Any questions that you have? Can anybody mention one tip that they learned? Anybody have one tip? Be intentional, right? Be intentional, definitely. All right. Yeah, know your people. Got it. Know your people. Yeah, there we go. All right. Yeah, search. Yeah, search is definitely important. Oh, yeah, voice search. Yeah, because people are using that. People are consistently searching on these ChatGPT and Gemini. And you want to make sure that you are getting found and your association is getting found as well. All right. Yes, yeah, they're your real influencers. Got it. All right, thanks for having me. I'll be back there for any questions. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate it. Thank you all so much for being here. We're about to go into about a 15-20-minute break. The educational sessions will begin at 11 a.m. There's the 2 rooms next door, so visit with our partners outside in the main foyer there. Quick little note, if you did park here, parking is free. As you exit the room, we'll give you a little voucher, so you'll get a little paper voucher, and that'll help you exit later today if you drove with the free parking. Thank you again for being here. Enjoy the rest of the program. Bye.